Hi, Kiko.
Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Hey, Eli, how's it going?
It's going great. How you doing, Kiko?
Thanks a lot. I'm going to tell you a little story. Circa 1988, I was 7 years old, and I walked into my grandmother's living room where my teenage uncle was watching A Nightmare on Elm Street 3. And it was a scene where Freddy's big head is eating Patricia Arquette's legs. And it was the first horror movie I had ever seen in my life, and I threw up all my Apple Jacks on the floor because of it. So with that said, what's your earliest memory of a horror movie scarring you for life?
Well, you know what's so funny is my earliest memory is similar, but totally different. It was the Body Snatchers. That's
Okay.
dates me, but I was watching it, and the fact that you lift up a finger and just lo-fi, just go "Ah!" and point and like steal your soul and turn you into a pod person was terrifying to me. And it stayed with me till this day. And now I realize I was probably like 4 years old or something when I saw it, so I was way too young.
Yeah, Donald Sutherland definitely got to me too back then. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Now, in this film, a friendly mascot named Frendo was turned into a serial killer, right? Which reminded me of this recent phenomenon of turning children's characters like Winnie the Pooh and Mickey Mouse into slasher movies. But I know Adam wrote the book before these movies started hitting the public consciousness. Isn't that right?
Yeah, Adam's way ahead of his time.
Right. So can you tell me a little bit, what's your take on taking like beloved children's characters like Frendo or like Mickey Mouse or Winnie the Pooh and giving them a horror spin?
Well, this is different because Adam invented Friendo entirely
Right.
from his own cloth. So it is this is more based in the sort of 1930s when everybody loved clowns, and you had Ronald McDonald selling McDonald's and Crinkles the Clown selling cereal, and then modernizing that in a way where he used to be the mascot that would sell things to kids. And I love that he's this sort of salesman clown that is so representative of America, but has been distorted over time, and now is this like super creepy salesman mascot that's looking to kill
Yeah.
people. So he sort of represents the American dream transformed over time from a happy-go-lucky guy to like a vengeful creature.
Yeah, I was trying to think of other company logos or mascots that might be turned into serial killers, but I couldn't really think of any good. Maybe the Jolly Green Giant. I don't know. What about you?
I
Do you
want to
have?
see Aunt Jemima just going after people.
That's true. There is that pancake. The pancake pan might be something to do. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Back in 2019, when that documentary Wrinkles the Clown came out, I'm not sure if you saw that one, but I wrote an article about the impact of clown horror movies on people who actually make a living as clowns. And one
Mm.
of the women I interviewed said that it's gotten so bad that a lot of times she's hired for a kid's birthday party and the parents will ask her to come, but without the face makeup. Isn't that interesting to you? And do you feel bad that you're,
I
you're
feel
putting people?
terrible. I don't want to put her out of a career. I actually want to help her career. So maybe she could just do evil face makeup and come for teens, and we'll just change it a little bit. I think that it's very funny to me because I do think clowns have always had this duality to them. I remember very clearly watching a clown, kind of a pantomiming, miming clown, and this 2-year-old was in the audience, and it was watching him and laughing and really enjoying it. And then the guy looked right at the 2-year-old and immediately went to tears in horror.
Right.
So there was something so like basic, primal in us that sees clowns as both like possibly funny, but possibly evil.
Definitely. Some people might look at clown movies and be like, well, is anything sacred, right? You take something that's so beloved, like a clown, or even I look at something like Pride and Prejudice, this literary classic, and now it's Pride and Prejudice and zombies, right? But how do
Yeah.
you feel like, what's your take on, taking something that's sacred like that and kind of twisting it on its head?
Well, I wouldn't compare the clown and Pride and Prejudice. I'm not taking a beloved masterpiece of a novel and changing it for my benefit. I think clowns lend themselves to, like I say, I think maybe Stephen King kind of did it first, but even before that, there's always been this like creepy duality to clowns. And
Right.
they hear the Man of a Thousand Faces, and I remember doing research for this and looking at Lon Chaney, or being covered in this mask, but like smoking a cigarette and looking so sad off camera. It's just like a set photo of him, and
Right.
that weird like underneath the mask, what is going on in the person is what I'm interested in.
Yeah, definitely. So you brought up somebody like Stephen King. With this film, Friendo is now added to the frightening roster of horror movie clown villains, including Pennywise and Art. Do you feel lucky that Clown in the Cornfield is going to be a lot more accessible than other slasher clown movies that have come before? Because if you look, there are a lot, but clown stuff like Clown Town or Clown Motel, they don't get theatrical releases.
Oh yeah, I mean we're looking at this is sort of more commercial, a little less kitschy, a little less campy. I was really just going for a horror film here with elements of comedy. Certainly, I one of my favorite horror movies is the remake of It, especially, but I like Tim Curry's It as well, and I love that it's a genre. Like it gave me the freedom to have do a horror movie that has a clown in it and not be like directly compared necessarily to one clown or another, just to live within the genre of clowns. But this is a very suspenseful thriller action horror film with elements of comedy. So if people go see it in the
Right.
theater, I think you'll see it's not a movie rental that's just campy midnight fare. It's a classic movie that can be watched in the theater.
Do you have kids yourself, young or old?
Yeah, yeah, I have two kids. Yep. The one's just turned
Okay.
18, another 10. So in the 18-year-old's in the
Okay.
movie. He gets killed.
Oh, nice.
I kill him with an
What
arrow.
would your 10-year-old go to the circus?
My 10-year-old would definitely go to the circus and he would be afraid of the clowns.
Okay. Well, that tracks with a 2016 poll conducted by Vox. I don't know if you read that one. 42% of Americans said that they were afraid of clowns. That's 42% of Americans. More than terrorist attacks, 41%, biological war, 35%,
Wow.
climate change, 34%, and death, 19%. Does that surprise you?
Whether I'm more afraid of clowns than death. What are these clowns going to do to people?
I don't know. I mean, kill you, I guess.
Well, it's got to be worse than that. They're not so afraid of death. Yeah, I think chlorophobia is rampant, and it definitely allows you to kind of ride on the coattails of just a fear that people already have, but then invert that and add layers of story on top of it. I
Right.
always see the cinematic experience as being two ways, right? People are putting stuff onto the film, and I'm giving them stuff back, and it's a two-way experience.
Now, just the last question that I have, but I'm sure you've seen the what is it, the Terrifier movies.
Mhm.
Those are a lot more gory than this one. When it comes to these types of horror movies, is there ever a line that people can cross when it comes to how much gore they show?
Well, different directors are different, right? I mean,
Right,
Damien Leone, he's a master of like special effects and
right.
blood and gore effects, and I admire that. But I have a bit of a queasy stomach myself, and so I literally am just pushing these as far as I can before I'm like, oh, that's too much. I can't look at that. Um, and every director is going to be a little different with that. And I just, for me, story is like the most important element. And the horror part is sort of just the world that my story I'm telling is in.
Could you see sequels coming behind this one?
Yeah,
Or would
it's
you?
all if it does well and people want sequels, I'm game. Adam Caesar, who wrote the books, has created such like a deep, rich world that it'd be really fun to get deep with it again.
Very
We'll see
cool.
though. Yeah.
Hey, Eli, well, thank you so much for taking the time and congratulations on Clown in a Cornfield. And we can't wait to see what comes up next with Friendo.
Thank you for watching it. Thank you.
All
Get the
right.
word out.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.